96 Festival is returning to the Omnibus Theatre this month for its second year running. The month-long celebration, described as London's only queer arts festival under one roof, will feature more than a dozen shows, including Republica by the flamenco star Juan Otero and 24/7 Live by the pop sensation The Field. Both are with us. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Morning.
Morning.
We'll chat about the shows individually to begin with, if that's okay. Le Field.
Yes.
Tell us about your performance. What can we expect?
Well, this pop sensation's in it. I love that term. So my show is essentially about the construction of masculinity and about all the men that are sort of like write, or relationships that I write about in my songs. But the show looks at that idea of gender and identity and how it's packaged up and how we're all packaged up like 24/7. So that's sort of the main theme of it, but it's told through music, it's told through dance, like costumes. So it's super fun. It's like oh, there I am.
There you go.
Mate. Yeah, it's super fun, and it's like a pop gig with extras.
I was going to say that's how it's been described.
Yeah.
The extras, I guess, kind of that. Are they the messages that you want to get across?
That's the thing, because most pop concerts are pretty much like song after song after song. So what I wanted to do was have a show that was a concert but with a narrative about the stories that I've been through, about all the issues that I have to deal with. Gender fluidity, with masculinity, and everything that I've sort of experienced as a kid. So it's like putting all this into my first show.
How frustrating is it that society as a norm is built around he and she?
It's super frustrating because it's also down to the tiniest things, like what haircuts you're expected to have. Like even just growing my hair seems to be a political statement, because I do identify as a he, but automatically people assume or misgender me because I've grown my hair, which is like an absurd thing.
Yeah.
Like the 70s happened, right? They all had long hair.
Yes.
And like,
we've been here before with long hair. It's not the first time we've had long hair.
Exactly. So like I try and play with all that type of expectations and try and deconstruct it and look at the body in terms of as like a sculptural tool of expression. So things like even packaging myself up just to sort of get like that point across. And I'm like a little fragile object there, apparently.
I don't think you'll break. I'm pretty confident with that. Juan Carlos, let's talk a little bit about Republica. This has Spanish connections. This is linked to the Spanish Civil War. Is that fair to say?
Not quite. I mean, it's a raucous retelling of history. So I am looking at Spanish history, but I focused on what was happening just before the Civil War, because everybody's heard about the Spanish Civil War and it's such a depressing story. So I'm really just looking to celebrate what was happening in Spain just before the Civil War. So in particular, the Second Republic of Spain. So the Spanish Revolution is what was happening. So I'm trying to avoid actually retelling the Spanish Civil War story and look at a piece of history that actually most of us are not familiar with.
Which is important, actually. When you look at the pictures, though, it certainly doesn't feel like it's going to be a history lesson. This is a colourful performance.
It is. I mean, it's history told by a flamenco dancer, a punk guitarist and a stripper. So, like I said, kind of a bit raucous.
How would you say that your performance fits into this overarching theme of celebrating queer culture? Obviously, the 96 Festival is all about that. That is its aim. How does this fit in?
Well, I mean, when I started working on Republica, it was when kind of divisive politics started taking over. So the connection between the struggle in a revolution, I'm trying to make parallels with the struggle for gender, identity, sexuality, and it's all about bringing people together. So 96 Festival is not just about people in the queer community talking to each other. It's about reaching out to the general public and asking, how can we further come together so as not to splinter into different groups and make the struggle even harder?
That's a really important point, isn't it? And perhaps we can bring in Phil here in terms of that. Obviously, you will perform at lots of different venues. You perform at shops, at places like Sink the Pink. How important is it that also you're present and relevant within the straight community to make sure that those messages are heard everywhere?
Well, that's with Sink the Pink as well, and with this festival, it's so outward looking. It's never like an exclusive type of like cliquey thing, because the whole point is to communicate with people and to have a place where if people feel like slightly affronted by what we're producing, is that they can feel comfortable to join us, and that we're at the same level, and it's nothing about trying to like make anyone feel awkward or like it's just
the opposite.
celebration.
Yeah,
So,
trying to draw people
yeah.
into the feeling of pride over our achievements, you know, things we've achieved together.
Yeah. How nice is it to be part of a festival where all of the creatives come together? You can kind of perhaps share experiences, but also you can kind of build on what you've done, build on performance skills. Do you get that when you're involved in something like this?
Yes, of course. I mean, there are so many threads to multidisciplined theatre, which is mostly what we're doing. So within each piece, we've probably all gone in alternative directions. So it just enriches all of our experience to see, you know, what other people are trying to achieve artistically, I mean.
Well, it's brilliant the festival is back for a second year. It is 96 Festival. Thank you so much for telling us about your shows. About 14 shows in total involved in this event. Let's tell you about these two particular ones, though. They will be running. So, Republica on at the Omnibus Theatre from next week. That is Wednesday to Friday. And the Phil 24/7 Live will be there on the 23rd of March.